Hello, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Welcome, everybody, to Robert Sarazin Blake from the Kitchen Table. I'm Robert Sarazin Blake. This, of course, is the Kitchen Table, and let me adjust the tablecloth to make a superior show for everybody. On my far left, that's David Pender Lofgren, who connects all the ones and the zeros, the cables, and the screens to bring this kitchen table to your kitchen table wherever you may be. And he took 2 well-deserved weeks off, and we're so happy to have him back at the kitchen table. And in the middle, who filled in last week, so glad to have him, our brother Jan Peters here on harmonica and the fizzy water. We have a great show for you. We have our friend Kevin Murphy, Bellingham poet, joining us. And it is, of course, the 4th of July. And Kevin suggested that we don't celebrate independence. He got this from our friends, that we're celebrating interdependence, because we all are indeed interdependent on one another. And we all are in need of housing, and we are in a major housing crisis now that is on the cusp of getting a lot worse as the eviction notices are lifting in the cities and rents in Bellingham are skyrocketing to the tune of 30-40%. That's just our town, so we have a lot to work on. So let's celebrate interdependence and let's celebrate freedom from fear of eviction here on this 4th of July here, 2021. Lady in the bay holds the promise of breathing free. We feel the glow of the torch when our eyes can hardly see. You weren't born to be the master. I wasn't born to be the mule. When the law is holding us back, we get together and change the rules. Our grandchildren's grandchildren will inherit the earth and sun. We'll use our 2020 vision to leave it cool for everyone. We're all on the same ship, ice melting, water rising, with all hands on deck cutting carbon. I see a new sunrise. 'Cause we're born to win, we're born to win. Sunshine State to the Golden Gate, Great Lakes State to the Bluegrass State. We're born to win, born to win. Tax cuts go to the wealthy, food stamps cut from the poor. After 40 years of trickle down, I'm not gonna let them trickle us anymore. Mother can't afford the medication, sister killed in Iraq. Billionaires fly to the Bahamas in a million limousine jet. And still we persist, and still we persist. Still we persist, and still we persist. You can only sit in one chair, only sleep in one bed. I see too many people living on the streets. We're gonna have to help the billionaires share. 'Cause we're born to win, we're born to win. Sunshine State to the Golden Gate, Great Lakes State to the Bluegrass State. We're born to win, born to win. Freedom is access to health care. Freedom is no student debt. Freedom is breakfast and dinner. Freedom is a good night's rest. Freedom is being any color, walking every street without fear of violence, working on your dreams. Freedom is clean air. Freedom is drinking clean water. We can do anything if we keep our heads together. 'Cause we're born to win. We're born to win. Sunshine State to the Golden Gate. Great Lakes State to the Bluegrass State. We're born to win. We're born to, not me, us. It's not all about me. And everybody, the live audience and everybody at home sitting at their kitchen table, or maybe they've got their mobile device with a Bluetooth speaker and they're sitting out on the beach or in some area outside enjoying the breeze. Wherever you are, you can say loud or clear or soft and muddled, but you can say it one way or the other. Not me, us. Not me, us. It's not all about me. Not me, us. No one can do it alone. Not me, us. Takes millions of people. Not me, us. To fight for justice. Not me, us. No one can do it alone. Not me, us. It takes millions of people. Not me, us. To fight for justice. Not me, Cause we're born to win. We're born to win. Empire State to the Volunteer State. And new guests have arrived. We welcome the new guests coming in on the side. Welcome to the party. Old Line State to the Equality State. Keystone State to the Treasure State. Show Me State to the Golden State. Great Lakes State to the Bluegrass State. We're born to win. Born to win. All right, happy 4th of July, everybody. Oh, I forgot. I have to add something to the wardrobe. You know, I think we can take back the red, white, and blue. It doesn't belong just to the right wing, so I'm sporting the red, white, and blue here to celebrate what I love about our country. And that is a lot of what I mentioned in the song there.
How's the mix, everybody? What? The whole thing for you?
Yeah, good. That's what we want to know, because we don't know. We're here, you're there, yeah.
Like as a whole, or anything in particular? The voice.
That's what we need to hear.
Voice down a little bit in the overall mix. How the instruments good? Little right.
Oh, okay.
Little more drum. But guitar and harmonica. Guitar and harmonica mixed well. Yeah.
Well, you're all very welcome indeed here to Robert Sarazin Blake from the kitchen table with Jan Peters, who's making sure that the experience is as pleasant as it can be for everybody in our live audience, and that the at-home audience is being mixed by David Pender-Lofgren, who is also running all the video screen for cameras, and while he's at it, playing a little music along with us. So grateful to have this team with me, and grateful that everybody out there can be celebrating together. If you choose to, we have a drink of the week. This week, because it's the 4th of July, we're drinking mint juleps. So our kitchen table irregulars are people who show up every week in some way or another. And Kim from Buffalo is our bartender, and she's always telling us what we're drinking. So this week we're drinking mint juleps, and if you tune in next week from wherever you are, we're having whiskey, lime, and Jack. And she said we'll do that because we have a poet on the show this week. So to celebrate Jack Kerouac, we're going to have whiskey, lime, and Jack next week. So we realized telling people what the drink of the week is at the start of the show doesn't do us any good because people have already gone to the grocery store. So we're letting you know now a week in advance what the drink will be next week. Whiskey, lime, and Jack. Young, can this operation be somewhere else? Sorry,
Well,
man.
no.
So it's a crowded kitchen table here with a variety of needs, wants, desires, if and buts, and what have you. So it's interdependence. We have various needs, and we're getting through it. Thank you very much. Where were we? It's the 4th of July. Interdependence Day is what we're celebrating. But we're also celebrating libation, because this is actually the biggest drinking holiday of the calendar year. A lot of people would think if asked that question, it would be New Year's Eve. But New Year's Eve, you don't start drinking maybe a little what a relative of mine calls a dresser. You might have a dresser around 4 o'clock while you're getting ready. A dresser is a drink you have while getting dressed for the night to come. Yeah, I didn't know that either, but that's what they call it. They call that in Michigan a dresser. So you might start around 4 o'clock, but I'm here to tell you there are people, even in this time zone, who have already had more than a dresser by 5 o'clock on this day here, Independence Day. So since we're drinking mint and juleps, which I don't think I had a chance to have a sip of mine. How is it, David?
Mine was.
I'd say it's nearly as good as the mint juleps that we have enjoyed several times at Oz's Free Fall Ranch.
Yes, for many Kentucky Derby, I think we played 3 Kentucky Derby days in technically Pennsylvania, but you can only drive to this. Well, what do they say? They say it's not an Airbnb, it's a homestay. And Oz, you can guess where he's from, and Celine hosts this homestay, which you can only drive to from the state of New York, but is in the state of Pennsylvania. And you come and you stay at their house, and they're so much fun, people pay to do that. They just stay at their house, and then they had us as a band, and somehow it ended up we did this Kentucky Derby. And, well, I guess what is interesting, because that's not so interesting, I mean, that's kind of charming in its own way, a small way, but what's Oz's Free Fall Ranch, you come and stay at their house, and then Oz takes you up into the sky, and you fall to the ground. Are you with me? Have I explained the situation? You do it with a parachute, and Oz strapped to you at the same time, and so you can do that. We haven't been there for a number of years, about 4 or 5 years we haven't been there. And we never went up in the sky with Oz. We did see some people come down, and they made it, and we saw a lot of happy people who enjoy the experience of jumping out of a plane. I've made my living for 20 years playing folk music, so I think I live a dangerous enough life. I don't have to jump out of planes to get a thrill. So they made us mint juleps, and haven't had one since, but I love the song, so we're going to play you a few bars of that. Early one morning, as I went walking, I met a gal and we started talking. I took her home and offered a few drinks, but all we had were mint juleps. One mint julep was the cause of it all. As I went walking, I met a gal and we started talking. I took her home to have a few drinks, but all I had was mint juleps. One mint julep was the cause of it all. Stay on subject for a moment. The subject of 4th of July. This one comes from Bruce Springsteen's second record. The Innocent, the Wild, and the E Street Shuffle. I played it last week, but the live stream didn't work last week, so even if you are an irregular, you weren't able to see it, which gives me the confidence to play it 2 weeks in a row. Plus, it's on point. There's a lot of... Hey, look who made it all the way from California. Usually we have a 4th of July party out in the county, but the county doesn't have internet, so we had to be within the proximity of the city here, so we could send this 4th of July kitchen table experience out to all the kitchen tables who want to be part of it. As everybody knows, Springsteen comes from the shore of New Jersey, Asbury Park, that is actually a true boardwalk and all rides and all that, so there's a lot of references here that you might check. Right out the first line when he says, the fireworks exploded over Little Eden. He's not making a biblical reference. There must be some ride called Little Eden. And we'll look for notes in the comments if anybody know what the ride Little Eden in Asbury Park is all about. Sandy. Fireworks exploded over Little Eden tonight, casting a light on the stony faces we left stranded here on this 4th of July. Downtown on the circuit, the switchblade lovers so fast, shiny and sharp, and the wizards play down on Pinball Way long after dark. And the boys from the casino dance with their shirts wide open like Latin lovers all on the shore, chasing those New York City virgins by the score. Sandy, Aurora is rising behind us. The pale lights, carnival life forever. Oh, love me tonight, I may never see you again. Oh, Sandy girl, oh, Sandy girl. Walk the streets. That's Jan Peters over there on harmonica. Yeah. Now the greasers walk the street, get busted by the cops for sleeping on the beach at night. Sandy, the boys in high heels, oh, their skin is so white. And me, I just got tired of hanging out in dusty arcades, beating on the pleasure machines, chasing the factory girls under the boardwalks, the ones who promised to unbutton their jeans. You know, the tilt-a-whirl down on the South Street drag I got on last night, my shirt got caught. I didn't think I'd ever get off. Oh, Sandy, Aurora is rising behind us. Our pure life, the carnival life forever. I'm on the boardwalk with the boss's daughter, but he ain't my boss no more. Hey, Sandy girl. waitress I was seeing lost her desire for me. She said she wouldn't set herself on fire for me anymore. She worked down on the boardwalk. You'd see her bopping down the beach with a radio. The kids say they saw her in some South Side bar with some guy called Kokomo. Here the cops finally busted Madame Marie for telling fortunes better than they do. For me this boardwalk, life is through, and it could be for you too. Sandy Aurora is rising behind us. The pier lights, carnival life forever. Oh, love me tonight, I will love you forever. Oh, Sandy girl, what do you say, Sandy girl? Oh, Sandy girl, oh, you ain't my boss no more. Oh, Sandy girl. Jan is sounding awesome.
Thank you.
Love having you on with us. And it is time, for those of you who follow the show, you know that it's time for the third song check-in. We already did a fair amount of checking in as we went because it can just roll that way sometime. But third song check-in lets us know what's going on all those kitchen tables out there. We have this kitchen table here with this wonderful live audience here, but people are watching from all over the country, potentially all over the world. We've had people view from a number of places. And who is out there on the 4th of July, David? Anybody watching from an interesting place?
I'm keeping track here, too.
All right, Jan is really getting in on the show here. You know, he's
I'm gone for 2 weeks. And, my job's taken from me.
I'm showing up next week no matter whether I'm invited or not. This is too much fun. But anyway, we got Dave and Peg. We got Dave. Whoops. Oh, were you about... See, I don't hear out of my... I'm sorry, I'm deaf in one ear. What was that?
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, we have all the regular kitchen table irregulars here this week.
Turn this off right now.
I would never do that to you, Jan. Actually, there are a lot of comments about Jan's playing today. I think I think you...
I got a lag here.
Soon there's going to be comments about his MC skills.
It does appear that all of the irregulars are here. Billiam was late to the party. Billiam is a regular kitchen table irregular who often gets conversations started, and this time has not only shown up late, but also immediately took up Kimberly, our kitchen table irregulars administrator, on an offer to virtually play on the monkey bars behind us.
That would be excellent.
Might be important to let people in the digital world understand a little bit more about where we are here, Robert. There is a playground.
Well, what can I tell you about this place here that you don't already know? Not much to the crowd in front of us here, but probably quite a bit to Billiam and everybody else. We are hosted by the Wilsons here on the south side of Bellingham, where for many years they raised the children of Bellingham at Child Life Montessori, and we're so grateful for them because the children they helped curate into the world are wonderful people. And you probably know some of them if you live in Bellingham. So thanks to Steve and Kathy for hosting us. Oh, there's one in the audience right over there, and he seems to be doing all right. He's not in jail this week, and he's doing all right indeed. Oh, that's wonderful. Did not know that. And also happy to report to everybody that there will be a Subdued String Band Jamboree this year with real people and a real audience. And there are some tickets left, and we certainly hope those tickets are sold because we want to have as many people out there as possible. So please go ahead to the website and get yourself a ticket before they're gone. We want to have you there. And what else do we have to say from Comment Land?
Well, there's a strong showing from the Canadians today. Maybe it's not a vacation up there, or it's not a holiday up there, so it's just another Sunday in Canada. But we've got...
just another Canadian Sunday.
We've got Janelle Sweeney from Abbotsford, BC, of course, the Guelph contingent. And I would just like to say that our thoughts are going out to our Canadian friends to the north who have the fires quickly encroaching on their properties. And, it's early in the fire season and things are already looking pretty wild out here in the west. So thoughts up to the Canadians, our friends there.
And big hopes that the border will open and our Canadian friends can come down to the Jamboree because our number one sound tech lives in Canada, and if the border doesn't open, it's going to have to be a completely acoustic Jamboree. We just can't have the show without him. So, well, as the irregulars know and some fear, we do have a part of the show called Stump the Band every week, and sometimes we get awfully stumped. And we've been getting stumped so bad lately that I thought I would actually back up and try to do something that we got stumped on last week. Last week, the request came for the Fixin' to Die Rag, and immediately 3 songs came into my brain at the same time, and none of them could come out. So I'm going to do my best to bring you something of the 3 songs that collided in my mind. The first one of which is most certainly not the Fixin' to Die Rag, but somehow was the first one that came out of me. Oh, here's a story about a man and his family and a big trip that they took. I heard all about it in a restaurant and I read it in a history book. They rented a car at the Erie Canal, but the car didn't have any brakes. Said, Ma to Pa, my God, this car's going down to the bottom of this lake. Said Ma to Pa with a pale face, I've done something terribly wrong. I left the water running in the bathtub, and I think I left the kitchen light on. Then I heard a crash, the car went splash, the compass rolled round and round. For heaven's sake, we're in this lake, and I think we're going down. We are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe. They may never see my sweetheart again. Which to me sounds like an absolutely perfect 4th of July song, which maybe a week ago that's why I was starting to creep in. You know, family there, they're going to the picnic. And, well, one thing led to the other. We have plenty of food in the back seat, and the windows are rolled up tight. So we gnawed on a chicken bone, told stories into the night. Pa told one that he told before, and the baby got a belly ache. Said Ma to Pa, my God, this car's going down to the bottom of this lake. Sing it with me. We are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe. I may never see my sweetheart again. Well, Pa played the music on the radio. Mama rocked the baby to sleep. Pa said I would have taken the other road, but I didn't think the lake was this deep. If the ferry had been there at the end of the pier, we'd be halfway to Uncle Jake's. Instead of looking out the window at the fish, I wish we'd hit the bottom of this lake. Instead of looking out the window at the fish, I wish we'd hit the bottom of this lake. Cause we are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe. I may never see my sweetheart again. Play it, John. If you ever go out on a big trip, be careful and take care. You better start on a good foot and wear clean underwear. Better take a Bible in the back seat, read David and Solomon. If you make a mistake at the bottom of this lake, you may never see your sweetheart again. If you make a mistake at the bottom of this lake, you may never see your sweetheart again. 'Cause we are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke and even got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe, and I never see my sweetheart again. So the Fixin' to Die rag was requested, and I started singing this song. Three songs came in at once. That was one of them, and that's a John Prine song, of course. But the other one that came in was a little closer to what we were headed towards. Well, I'm just a good old American boy from a perfect American town. I believe in God and Senator died to keep an old Castro down. So when it came my time to serve, I knew better dead than red. I went up to the draft board and this is what I said. Doc, I'm only 16, got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. Eyes like bats, my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Think of my career, my sweetheart dear, and my poor old invalid aunt. And ain't no fool, I'm going to school, and I'm working at a defense plant. 'Cause we are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe, and I never see my sweetheart again. I'm only 16, got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I got eyes like a bat, my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. And ain't no fool, I'm going to school, and I'm working in a defense plant. Oh, come all you big strong men, Uncle Sam needs your help again. Got himself into a jam down in Vietnam. So put down your books and pick up your gun. Gonna have a whole lot of fun. And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. But it ain't no time to wonder why. Whoopee, we're all gonna die. 'Cause we are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe them and never see my sweetheart again. Oh, come on, Wall Street, don't be slow. This is war, a go-go. Plenty good ways to make good cash. Send in the money on the boys are gonna buy the weapons before the big crash. Let's hope when they drop the bomb, they drop it on the Viet Cong. And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. There ain't no time to wonder why. Whoopee, we're all gonna die. Oh, come on, your mothers throughout the land. Pack up your boys to Vietnam. Come on, fathers, don't hesitate. Send them off before it's too late. You can be the first one on your block. See a boy come home with a box. And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. Well, there ain't no time to wonder why. Whoopee, we're all gonna die. Well, there ain't no time to wonder why. Whoopee, we're all gonna die. 'Cause we are going down, down to the bottom of a hole in the ground. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm so scared I can hardly breathe. I may never see my sweetheart again. That's a Draft Dodger bottomless Fixin' to Die rag. Happy 4th of July, everybody. A proud tradition of not going to war. We'll do a few more numbers, then we'll get our friend Kevin Murphy to come be with us here at the kitchen table. We're certainly happy to be spending it with you. We're not in the Happy Valley anymore, though, are we? Is there a name for the hills that separate yourselves from the Happy Valley? The Chuckanut Ridge. Chuckanut Ridge is that way. So for those of you who don't live in Bellingham, you're at your kitchen table somewhere else, we got to let you know that we have neighborhoods here with very charming names, such as Sunnyland. Now, if Sunnyland isn't enticing enough for you to move to Bellingham, you might consider moving to Happy Valley. Happy Valley and Sunnyland are two neighborhoods we have here, and that's enough to make some people not even want to come visit. That's just a little bit wrong, you know. You know, my ramble just got a little longer. You can also move to Fairhaven. It's not quite happy or sunny. It's fair. It's fair though. It's fair and nonetheless a haven.
I prefer the York neighborhood myself.
I gave you all my kisses in a poem, babe. In a poem, babe. In a poem. The ones you said you'd been missing, babe. In a poem, babe. In a poem. There was no start, there was no middle. There was no middle. Was no end, just an old man sawing on his fiddle, babe, in the poem, babe, that I made. Someday I'm gonna kiss your face, babe. Someday I'm gonna kiss your face. I will try and compensate, babe, for all the lines I made. Oh, gave you all my kisses in a poem, babe. Poem, babe, in a poem. The ones you said you've been missing, babe, in a poem, babe, in a poem. Kisses in a poem, babe. Here we are, 4th of July, very conflicted holidays for those of us who are aware that after World War II, the United States has been on a campaign of dominating the rest of the world to get natural resources to maintain our way of life and not caring very much about the way the rest of the world experiences life. So when it comes to celebrating our nation, it's a little conflicted for us. And sometimes we might not really feel like wearing the red, white, and blue, but we have to remember there's things about the country that not only we can be proud of, but there's one thing that we are loved for around the world. As Americans, we are loved for rock and roll. Think I should tune up, Jan, or just embrace that sort of grating feeling for the whole number?
I was trying to decide.
Yeah. I think we'll tune up. The intro felt strong, though. This is what we're doing, though. We've been doing this show. We started in March of 2020. And we had such a good time doing it. We've kept on doing it, and now we get to do it to small audiences. It was just David and myself in his garage with a little camera looking at us. But as David said, when your audience is a camera, they're whoever you think they are, and they're always listening.
I'm not sure that I said that, but I like the way it sounds.
Well, we're going to keep it going. We're having a great time doing it, and I think we're going to keep doing the outdoor shows through September, and we have a lot of empty Sundays. So if anybody here in this audience or at a kitchen table in Bellingham, we're not too far away, has a backyard where we can gather and you can invite your friends over. We'll come and do it at your backyard. We've done it at have we done as many as 10 backyard shows already? And we must be hugging. We're going to be getting to 75 shows at some point, 75 Sundays. That was a nice sound to it. We must celebrate 75 Sundays by there's a drink with 75 in it.
French 75.
See, we're tying it all together here in a bow on the 4th of July. And it starts out with a poster. Bob Marley and a spliff. You get a guitar when you get older. You start building your own myth. When the band pulled into Cleveland, they were exhausted from the heat. There'd been a wreck out on the highway, biggest mess you'd ever seen. Well, the bass player met a girl in Toledo the night the drummer broke his hand. The fiddle player was pretty convinced she was gonna quit the band. Well, the basement show went off that night. It nearly brought the whole house down. There's no pride like the pride in the eyes of those who make it in the underground. Well, they look like a bunch of failures, unemployed, drunk, and mean. But those with a quick eye could tell they were living the rock and roll dream. Tour ended in New Jersey. I was beaten, I was tired. Opening band was drinking Mad Dog 2020, and they were wired. Well, they heckled worse, they patronized. I couldn't take another blow. Only time I ever told anyone to get the fuck out of my show. It's not every audience you can bring to the knees, but don't let him forget who has a star and roll in your rock and roll dream. And it starts out with a poster, John Lennon wearing shades. You get a gig when you get older. Who even cares about getting paid? Pensacola, Florida. Yeah, Jan Peters is a lot better with Jan than it is without him, that's for sure. I mean, Reed and Louise aren't clapping, but I know they're enjoying it anyways. People enjoy things in different ways. That's all there is to that. Pensacola, Florida, see the dark blue sea, the Yukon down to Texas, then back home to the Jamboree. I've slept in bars, I've played in cars, once woke up in the snow, a voice like a whip thrashing me, get on down that road. I know what to say about the cat and curiosity. Make no mistake, I'm not gonna wake or stay in my rock and roll dream. Oh, one more time, y'all. That was so much fun. Sitting around Cap Hanson's on a Tuesday night, the bands are back from battle, swapping stories of the fight. The van broke down, we didn't make any money, no one came to that show. The old guys got the same old stories, the young eyes always glow. Oh, the band in the corner, they play here every week. The drummer gets so drunk, so stoned. That he can't play or when they break into the chorus, we all sing along, cause we all know what it means. We all just want another chance at the rock and roll dream. And it starts out with a poster, Bob Marley and the Split. You get a guitar, lots of guitars as you get older. You're hanging on to that old me. David Lofgren over there, Jan Peters on my left. I think it's time to bring up our friend Kevin Murphy to the stage. You're so excited to have him. Heather, would you give Aaron a call? Oh, Heather can't hear me. Lewis, would you tell Heather to give Aaron a call and make sure she can find the place? We're bringing him to the kitchen table for his very first time. He was in the audience there at our tribute to Bob Dylan. Myself and Louis Ledford sang Dylan songs as best we could. And Kevin came to us at the start of the show. He said, you know, if at any point during the show you stumble on any Dylan lyric, I know it. And that was nice to have in the audience. Now, myself nor Louis did not stumble on one lyric, but we were happy to have that resource there in the audience. And Kevin, how long have you lived in Bellingham?
I first moved to Bellingham 42 years ago.
42 years
However,
ago.
I moved away for a while.
And then he moved away.
Back.
And then he moved back.
what
42
year was
years
that,
ago. I'm
Robert?
44,
Yeah.
so I can tell you with some confidence that was 1979.
Correct.
And Bellingham in 1979 is a place a bohemian like me can only dream of. Although it did smell funky. But the funky smell is what kept it a great place for artists to live. And now you cannot move to Bellingham and live a bargain lifestyle, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say you and I have both been living a bargain lifestyle for a little while now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is my friend here, and I don't know his work as well as I would like, which makes me very excited to hear him here at the kitchen table. How about a round of applause from everybody in the live audience? And a round of applause. You can hit the clap button there in the comments. And let's hope these microphones are set up reasonably.
And I am going to tune my guitar, make sure I'm still in tune.
Well, this is going to be fascinating. 1979. How many people in our live audience were living in Bellingham in 1979? That's 5 or 6. And how many of those people were born in Bellingham? Kathy's family's from Bellingham. We got into this discussion last night. My grandfather was born in Seattle. But I'm not sure about my great-grandfather. You know, we get into this stupid Washington State thing where somehow we think if we've been here for 1 or 2 generations, we're superior to other people, and we're not. This whole idea of Californians shouldn't move here or somebody else shouldn't move here is so full of crap. This is one earth. We all have to live somewhere, and this is a place, and we just need to make room for other people and live maybe a little more modest lifestyle, making room for other people. So can it with a Washington native. It's offensive to the true natives, and we are all travelers on this land. Kevin, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so on the theme... Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Robert.
right.
On the theme of interdependence, this first piece is called Animal Spirits. And a while ago, when the stock market was going through some fluctuations, I heard people refer to animal spirits driving the market, and it was referring to irrational forces. It's an actual term out of economics. And so, I don't know anything about economics, but I like the idea of animal spirits kind of driving the market. So that's what this is about. The computers, they just want to go to sleep, but the animal spirits won't let them. A man stands at an ATM, fumbling with his credit cards. The ghost of a weasel moves in. Teenagers fall headfirst into their phones. When they come out, they're obsessed by something a moose said in somebody's dream. The camels and yaks of distant caravans cause interest rates to fall. But the thunderous wings of a monarch butterfly lift them up again. The buying, the spending, the getting, the grabbing, so much depends on the exhalations of a prehistoric horse, the wordless hunger of a dung beetle, the all-knowing bones of a frog, and the swishing tail of a kangaroo rat. The computers. 2,000, 2 million, 5 billion computers. They're so tired they just want to go to sleep. But the animal spirits are chattering, belching, cooing, hissing. The animal spirits have worked their way into the fiber optic cables on the ocean floor. They're sucking the marrow out of the algorithms. They're gnawing on the zeros of your bank account. They're tearing up the insulation that separates oblivion from order. Most financial experts project that sometime in the upcoming fiscal year, animal spirits will recover their bodies. When they do, they will come to your house when you least expect it And when it is least convenient, they will come and they will eat you.
No.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, I've got a mint julep with my name on it.
With your
here.
name on it.
Yeah.
You were so patient waiting for that. One mint julep was the cause of it all. I didn't learn the rest of the verses, so nobody knows what the causes were. But I think everybody was well aware what the effects were.
So a few pieces that were written during the pandemic. My extended family ranges over genomes and kingdoms, defies barriers of species, phyla, order, and class. Impromptu reunions occur at murky river bottoms, where the eels and catfish are distant uncles, and the turtles are great aunts, and the river itself is the godmother. Long-lost cousins hang inverted in caves and clock towers. Step-siblings burrow toward the center of the earth and reemerge in Mongolia and Madagascar. My extended family comprises not only every one of the multitudinous Murphys of Ireland, not only every one of the Fidens and Hofers of Bavaria, but all humanoids without regard to race, creed, or socioeconomic status, apes both erudite and illiterate, toads, hyenas, jackals, horse thieves, drunkards, and scoundrels of every stripe. My extended family includes 350,000 species of beetle, 20,000 varieties of flatworm, the spores of extraterrestrial slime mold, and as much as it pains me to admit it, yes, Senator, even you. Look, there's the next door neighbor, standing in the backyard, just kind of staring off the way he does. Hey, how's it going, I say. Not bad, he said. How's it going with you? I like the next door neighbor just fine. But some of the other neighbors have issues. Don't trust him. They say he sticks them in his weird poetry without permission, and that once they are in the poems, they are portrayed in a negative light. He turned me into a weasel, says one neighbor. I lost an argument with a rock, says another. I triggered the collapse of civilization, says a third. I actually think the next door neighbor might be some kind of strange genius. If he wants to put me in one of his poems, I'd be honored. Besides, if he does cast me as, some kind of psycho-dystopian henchman, I'd never know about it. I avoid poetry like the plague. I haven't read a poem in 50 years, and I don't expect to read one anytime soon. Well, there he goes inside the house. Nice guy. Ought to do something about his dandelions, though. And, this one is actually not from the pandemic time. I don't have very many poems that deal topically with American history, but I do have one kind of juvenile poem called The Father of Our Country. And I guess I'll do it. Everybody knows that George Washington had wooden teeth. But how many people know that his entire head was carved from a block of oak? George Washington probably never said, "I cannot tell a lie," but he did issue an ultimatum to the other founding fathers. If I can't dance, he said, I don't want to be part of your revolution. This alarmed John Adams and Ben Franklin and Alexander Hamilton because George's dance moves were aesthetically radical for their day and shockingly funky. But in the end, they relented. George only once visited the state that bears his name. But during the visit, he fathered a son. The name of the son was Lyndon Washington. He was born not far from here. And the last one I'll do for my another little segment here. A pandemic poem. I wrote a number of, actually they were emails to the national economy. I'm only going to read one, and I'll just explain that I ended up signing them unpronounceable glyph. And I didn't really mean anything by that, but it just came to me when I did the first one, and it seemed right. Dear national economy, I hear you are feeling a little better. I hope that is true. The other day, I heard the Lieutenant Governor of Texas say people should be happy to give up their life for your well-being. And I couldn't agree more. My only regret is that I have but one life to give for you. On the other hand, I'd like to point out that as an older, white American male with moderately robust spending capability, I am almost certainly worth more to you alive than dead. Wouldn't it work to give the privilege of self-sacrifice to a member or even 2 or 3 members of a demographic sector less advantaged than my own? If foreigners, say a few Bangladeshi rickshaw drivers or subsistence farmers are available, I suspect the exchange rate might even be more favorable. If this arrangement is feasible, I would be happy to increase my consumer spending by an agreed-upon percentage. Thank you for considering my proposal, which I believe translates into a win-win scenario for all involved. Please do not hesitate to get in touch if there's anything I can do. Sincerely, unpronounceable glyph.
Woo! Woo! It's good to have a guitar in moments like this. It gives me a chance to riff on something, 'cause it's hard to follow old Kevin Murphy. Since 1979, here in the most northwest corner, the most northwest city, the most northwest state in the lower 48, it's been hard to follow Kevin Murphy. Oh, it comes on sweet, it comes on funny, and he's a charming and fine guy. But by the end of his set, he lays into you so heavy you want to cry, and that is why it's hard to follow Kevin Murphy. Well, we have reached a segue in the show. We were before at the performance part of the show, and now we are at the after party. Welcome, everybody, to the after party. You got the invitation, and you accepted the invitation. Regardless of whether you have work or something to do in the morning, you're at the after party, and you're willing to ride this Ferris wheel, this merry-go-round, wherever it's going to go. See, the situation here with this live stream we have going is that we call it From the Kitchen Table, because when I'm on the road, I always end up staying at someone's house. I have slept on so many soggy couches they actually are comfortable to me, you know. And it's like yoga hurts my body, but give me a lumpy couch in a Midwestern state at a gig where 4 people showed up and I'm starting to heal. It feels like home. And so I understand there are people who on the road, after they play the gig, they go to tall buildings with small rooms, and I have tried it a time or two myself, but I'm more comfortable going to somebody's house. And of course, before we hit the couch, we have a few more songs and a few more jars of this, that, or the other thing sitting around the kitchen table, and that's where we are right now. We are at the Unplanned Anything Goes, sitting around the kitchen table. Thank you, Kevin, for being here at the kitchen table on the 4th of July, 2021. Wow, everybody, let's think about last year. Let's have a minute thinking about last year. That was a drag. That was a drag, that was a drag, but we're here and alive because we did all that distancing last year. That was a drag, but those here are alive. We lost 600,000 people, and some people think it's still a hoax. And if we have to stay distant a little bit longer, yeah, I'll do it like the most. And then there's some jerks out there who think they are better than the people who know better than them, and they're wrong. So we gotta stick together. It's interdependence on the 4th of July. We're thinking about last year, and we're grateful to be alive. Sometimes I go by your house and I don't even look. Sometimes I get by your house and I don't get shook. Sometimes I go by your house, I don't look up at the window to see if the light is on, to see if the light is on. Sometimes I go down your street and I don't look for your car. Sometimes I go down your street and I don't look for your bike. Sometimes I go down your street, I don't look up at the window to see if the light is on, to see if the light is on. Sometimes I pour a glass of red and I don't think about you. In the evening after dinner, I don't think about you. But later when the stars are shining, the wind is shining too. Put my head down on the pillow, don't think about you. Sometimes I get up and I feel pretty good. Sometimes I get up and it's understood. There's a lightness in my voice and there's a lightness in the air. And these bricks on my feet, spikes on my shoes, weight on my torso, harness to my ribs, pulling this cart of trash, full of this and that, photographs and photographs, empty places, autographs, Marquette and Monsanto, Kathleen Lammett, all of it, all of it down to the core, heavy laden iron ore, molecules and protons and neutrons and ions, the first bright's the last breath, it isn't even there, it isn't even there. It isn't even there. It isn't even there. Thank you very much, everybody. David Pender Lofgren making this come together. And Kevin Murphy, he's had it. He was enjoying, and he's just left the... Well, I don't know if that's on the screen. It's not funny if it's not. But no, he's back. He's back. Very good. He's had a change of heart.
So how's my, is that guitar coming through at all? Is my placement good here?
Well, it's definitely unusual.
Yeah. The placement of things.
It's definitely unusual, but I let me help with that.
Okay.
Good. It's fine.
Actually, don't need the music stand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you might need it again.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
But not with the guitar.
I will take a moment to mention that there is a digital tip jar for those who are viewing from the digital audience. There is a analog tip jar for those who are viewing from the analog audience. That's the Bellman's hat from the Ritz-Carlton in Manhattan, Robert has a story about how he got
Don't
that
stay in
hat.
hotels often, but when I do.
So what I'd like to share here is actually a song. I don't do many songs really, but this is one, and I wrote this in 1983 when I was working over in Eastern Washington. I was working in an orchard in the Okanagan, and I worked over there quite a bit as a picker and a thinner, but only one season did I do pruning, which happens during the winter months. And so anyway, I wrote this. I mean, you probably know it best by the 1997 Euro dance remix by Daft Punk, which was huge. But anyway, so I hadn't played the song in a while, but as New Year's was approaching, I thought, oh, this is kind of has a New Year's theme in a way, and I felt that I would make a video of it and share it with my Facebook friends as kind of a Happy New Year thing. And the first line of the poem, which was actually borrowed from the first line of the song was borrowed from a poem by the poet Cesar Vallejo, and it goes, "Let the city go wild, completely wild." And so it was right around New Year's, and just at that time, the orange guy, who was rallying his forces for an event in Washington, D.C. And he used the phrase, he said, everybody come on, it's going to be wild. And suddenly there was this kind of weird resonance, and it seemed unfortunate, and I didn't want to be on the wrong side of history. And so and I certainly didn't want to contribute to civil unrest or the collapse of the democratic order, as if posting on Facebook might do that. So I didn't post it, but I'm going to share it with you now. And, I thought it through, and it's like if people take every poem and song, every line literally, they just don't get it. And I'm not responsible for any rioting or mayhem that results from, even if people here were to take it wrong and commit mayhem, it's not my fault. Go wild, completely wild. Let newspapers go naked with drums. Let wide avenues run nameless at the sun. Let the soul go uncensored, totally free. Let the show go on unrehearsed. Let the second act be performed even before the first. Let the star go uncharted, the light go unclaimed. Let the brightness go straight to the blood. Let gold coins be scattered like seeds in the mud. Let greed go empty and go somewhere else. Let hunger go hungry and die. Let reason fall in love and never know the reason why. Go forgotten both early and late. Let the colors soften and blend. Let the beginning of things be present at their end. Let the word go wordless, grammatically insane. Let the spellbound page tear loose. Let the syllables slide to the far side of the truth. Let the thought go unfinished and just drop from sight. Let the melody go unresolved. Let the mystery dance for the joy of going unsolved. Let the mystery dance for the joy of going unsolved. Let the mystery dance for the joy of going unsolved.
Beautiful.
Thanks. You have a solo harmonica piece?
I've just invited Jan Peters here to do a solo harmonica piece. Here we are at the kitchen table, and at least at my house, at the kitchen table, it's not just two going back and forth. We got to keep it in rotation, and the thing about the guitar being passed around the kitchen table is that it often goes to somebody who's not expecting nor wanting it, but that brings out a certain kind of performance and sharing that I find very enjoyable. And I hope you do too here, whether you're listening here in this beautiful backyard that is on the south side of Chuckanut Ridge, not far from Happy Valley, but not in Happy Valley. We're in the south neighborhood. Nobody could come up with a better name than that. That was South Neighborhood. We're in this, South Side. South Side. South Side has sort of an urban feel. South Side Johnny, you know?
That's more all-inclusive, however. That includes more than the South neighborhood.
Yeah, right. That's anywhere south of, say, Myrtle Street. Yeah, yeah. Well, and legislatively speaking, that would be the difference between the 40th and the 42nd. And I don't think we have any races we need to talk about, although Doug Erickson should be removed from office as fast and quickly as possible, legally, if not by the vote. We'll get him in the vote next time. We lost by, 42 votes?
Ooh.
But that means a lot of people think us here in Washington, we live in some sort of blue, sort of just relax and let it blue. Hey, we're in a purple district, and we have reason to get up in the morning and talk to our neighbors and try to change a few votes around. So, Jan Peters, what do you got for us?
This is a little waltz. This is a pandemic tune that I wrote because I spent the pandemic reading Charlotte's Web over and over. No. Because it makes me cry, and I needed that. No, but I did write this little tune, and I called it Waltz for Wilbur. And then I'm gonna do a jig called or a march called O'Sullivan's March with David.
Jan Peters there. What a pleasure to have you with us here at the kitchen table.
Thanks.
I have a feeling you'll be seeing a lot more of Jan Peters at the kitchen table and at your kitchen table. But let's pass it back over to Kevin Murphy.
I'm hungry.
Here. Yeah. 4th of July. It's these holidays we get a chance to mark time, and it really is something to think about last 4th of July and what a year we've all had. And, yeah, okay, maybe we got some projects done or some introspection that might not have otherwise happened, but what a drag. What an absolute drag. And 600,000 lives lost in this country. We light candles in the winter to remember that and stay focused on that. But we can celebrate, too, because a lot of us are here because a lot of us went to extreme measures of isolation so that we could all be here now. And I know Kevin follows a spiritual path to try to be here now, and David and I follow a spiritual path to try to be here now. So it's coming together here, and we do drink local beer exclusively, and we are, in a very casual way, sponsored by Chuckanut Bay Bourbon. Now, not the gin, but the bourbon. No, actually by Chuckanut Bay, and they did give us this bottle, and I got to get a hold of them because it's empty. It's empty. And next week we're doing, I think, Jack, Lime, and... Well, there were 3 things. No one paid attention. Jack, lime,
Ginger.
and ginger. Ginger for health. For health. There's things that get inflamed, and you must have ginger to reduce that inflammation. You hear people talk about this as though inflammation's a bad thing. And so they say, have a little ginger. So that's exactly why next week Kim has recommended, in addition to our Jack and lime, a little ginger.
Ginger, yeah.
Yeah, ginger. I mean, we are going to be so uninflamed next week during the show. It's going to be a different show altogether. Back to Kevin.
All right, on the theme of revolution, this poem is called Cézanne's Carrot, and it's based on inspired by a quote by Paul Cézanne, or at least it was attributed to Paul Cézanne. Maybe he actually said it. I saw it on a Uprising seed package, and the quote is, "The day is coming when a single carrot, freshly observed, will set off a revolution." Who believes it? Yeah. You look at the carrot looks at you. You zoom in, zoom out. You rotate the carrot 90 degrees, 180, 360. Then you spin like a dervish. Well, the carrot remains still. You grate the carrot, saute the carrot, cut the carrot into matchsticks, burn down the house. You bite the carrot, chew, suck the pulp, swallow the juice. Describe the experience in your notebook in terms of chocolate and Cabernet, in terms of shoe leather and cigar smoke. You bite the carrot. Note that the carrot does not bite you back. Maybe it's because the carrot is a vegetarian. Maybe you're a vegetarian, but that doesn't really help the carrot. You arrange 100 carrots in a wheel, a mandala, every carrot pointing to the darkness at the center of the wheel. You meditate on that darkness, lose yourself in it. You look at the paintings of Cézanne. You see men playing poker, a naked woman wading into the river, spindly fingers on the brim of a hat. You see wine bottles and piles of plums and apples, a pile of skulls, but no carrots. The day is coming, says Paul Cézanne, but Cézanne has been dead for over 100 years. What's the story, Paul Cézanne? Are we on the right track? Is that day coming still? Or did it come and go without our noticing? Thank you.
Razor's Edge, right?
Razor's Edge?
Yeah, that's about Paul. Cézanne is the painter.
Yeah.
Am I on the right track here? Lewis, am I on the right track or am I lost? Okay, I'm good. Razor's Edge is about the painter who goes to Tahiti to paint. Is that
That's Gauguin.
Cézanne Gauguin? I'm rhyme oriented in my memory, and I was wrong. And I'm learning to say that more and more all the time. And it feels good. It feels good. I want to send this one out to our hosts, Steve and Kathy, and they live here. As we've been really enjoying the geography of the most northwest corner, the most northwest city, the most northwest state in the lower 48. They are so far away from that because they live in the neighborhood of Bellingham called South. They live in the South neighborhood, and people are often surprised when they come to visit. They say, wow, Bellingham must be one heck of a town. I mean, it commands 8 exits off the Interstate 5. Well, it's not that it's so big. It's just that the freeway has a way of getting into almost every neighborhood in Bellingham. And I hear that same urban river floating by my window up there in the York neighborhood. I hear that same semi-truck coming by. And I think Steve and Kathy are going to be hearing that semi-truck pretty soon. And our friends up there in the Birchwood, they're going to be hearing. Oh, they've already heard it. They're back to sleep. They've rolled over by now. This one goes out to all the gardeners out there, the farmers as well, but primarily the gardeners and the canners, because we have a little problem called climate change. And if you don't want to have your food trucked up from California, causing even more climate change, then you got to grow it yourself, and you got to be like our friends the Wilsons, who have shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf. And I'm not trying to make them embarrassed. I'm just trying to say it's an incredibly beautiful shelf of canned goods. So we're sending this out to the canned goods, to the gardeners. That's the front lines of climate change here. I'm in the kitchen, anticipating your returning. No one gives to me sweet like you do love, and I'm chopping potatoes. Making sure there's coffee for the morning. Even pick some daisies, I put them in a jar. Went over to the window and I thought I heard the sound of your bike in the backyard. Coming home. Tomatoes and garlic, capers and carrots, I baked bread together with butter and break it. I'm chopping onions, I'm crying all my tears away. I just can't wait to see your face when I tell you all of the stories I've saved. I went over the window, saw that it was nothing, just my imagination. Gonna put the burner on low. Nothing I'm cooking for you could get ruined. I'm not expecting you anywhere around an hour or so. I'm in the kitchen, the music on, I'm chopping basil, I'm listening to sweet love songs about somebody coming home. Olives and asparagus and collard greens, I'm hoping window when your heart is thin. Want to see me? Table set and the kettle is on for tea. After dinner we'll sit out on the porch, talk about some old times, times we've been through. You know, any time is a good time. I would always love to see you. Beautiful. Thanks. Well, Kevin, I'm hoping we can get another blast from you, and then it will be time for better or for worse to stump the band. Yes, that's what we do here every week on the show. We have a segment called Stump the Band, and that is your choice, your chance, and your choice. First, your chance to request a song, and then your choice to request a song that perhaps you think we know, or perhaps you'll request something you're pretty sure we don't know, or perhaps you'll request something that you're not sure. In the words of he who should have gone to jail before he went to the other side, you don't know that we don't know.
Yeah, right on.
All to say, at this point, we're going to get another blast from Kevin Murphy. And while that's happening, I'm expecting each and every one of you to come up with a request for myself and Kevin and Jan and David. You're going to come up with a request, and we will do our best to fulfill that request. We're going to be looking for 3. And as the English teachers in the room have taught me by example, I'm expecting each and every one of you to have a request, even though I'm only going to call on 3 of you. And when I call on you, I really hope you don't say, I didn't do the reading, but. That's the worst, isn't it? You know what I mean? Philip, did that ever happen? Did anybody ever say to you, I didn't do the reading, but? And then pontificate? We have an English teacher in the audience who has confirmed that that does happen. People will raise their hand and say, I didn't do the reading, but. Now, this reminds me of a sort of pertinent subject of the moment, which ties into high school biology, which I didn't take, and for that reason, I now am not smarter than Fauci. I'm not smarter than Fauci, and by not taking high school biology, I checked a box that said, you will not later in life think you are smarter than Fauci without doing the reading, or comprehensive reading, shall we say. We're moving right along. I'm a little fired up here on the 4th of July. We did not reach the 70% because some people are very, well, it's not that they're anti-vaxxers. It's just they want to do a little more reading. Did you take high school biology? Would be my first question, because I think that's an important step to understanding the reading. I did not take high school biology, so I could play folk music, and that's what I'm doing right here. And when you play folk music, you are allowed, if you have an audience, including the deer that's walking behind us. The at-home audience will not believe what's that. Well, no, they went behind the tree. The live audience doesn't believe me, but they live in Bellingham, so they believe me. I've talked long enough. Kevin, I want to hear what you have to say, and then we're going to get stumped. And I got to let you know, odds could be good. I've been stumped so badly for so many weeks in a row that maybe somebody will request something we can do.
I request that you back me up on this piece. And
We
Jan,
work
you
this.
could join in. I think.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So this is called Autobio, which is the story of my life as pertains to automobiles. A little bit up top. I'm going to ask you to drop out.
I love dropping.
That'll be like.
Tune in.
Okay.
Turn on. I'm not the right age for it, but I grasped the concept easily. Kevin leaned over and said, I'm going to want you to drop out at some point. Turn on. Tune in.
I dropped out of high school biology. So it's because I fainted during the dissection of the frog.
Isn't it cool that people learn that stuff? I so appreciate them. And I will do what they say. Is that a good tempo there?
Good. A little bit up. Quicker.
That's shocking to me. I mean, I'm a speed demon over here. Watch out when you get David on the job. We'll be doing a mambo. All right.
The battery died, but we drove anyway. Sleeping with eyes open, dreaming while driving, we drove. Deep into the night, deep into the wind, and when the sun came up and we were, as usual, hopelessly lost, what could we do but drive on? One by one, wheels fell off the car. Dials on the instrument panel spun wildly, and we drove to music, rapid, dense music with bass lines appropriate to the highway, and then to the perfect silence of an engine gone dead, we drove. We drove from L.A. to Huehuetenango, from the moon's dark side to the burbs of Chicago. Failed the driving test 14 times and just kept driving. We drove with fervor and grace, past cornfields and camels and alien apartment complexes, past skyscrapers and caterpillars and armadillos. We spent our last 85 cents on a styrofoam cup of coffee, and we drove flat broke. We were free. Like the birds of the heaven, like the lilies of the field, like the dangerous whirling stars of the desert sky. Everything fell apart in Las Vegas. Our mechanic collapsed and died under the hood, but the car itself was miraculously resurrected. So we drove on. We drove to Bakersfield, and when Bakersfield was attained, it vanished, and we drove to Fresno. Then a landslide blocked the road, so we huddled behind a billboard and waited for the dynamite to arrive. We drove. Grandma stood in the driveway waving bye-bye. We drove to the swamp to kidnap turtles, returned with both turtles and salamanders. We drove through nowheres crowded with nobodies while clocks struck zero. Ran out of gas, ran out of coffee, drove. We could have been anybody going anywhere. We were anybody. And we drove to get loaves of bread, computers, fly swatters, cough syrup, to get and to have and to be everywhere at once as much as possible. Wheels fell off the car. Brakes failed. There was no gas, nowhere left to go. We were being pursued. Pursued by communist spies and Apaches and pterodactyls, pursued by state troopers and Jack Kerouac and Fred Flintstone and all the ancient hipster superheroes. Mosquitoes and ants panicked as we approached. Many bugs died, many, many bugs, and we drove. We drove out onto the frozen lake, cut holes in the ice, and took photographs of the ghosts trapped in the water. We drove over snowdrifts to the land of the abominable snow people, and we taught them how to parallel park. We drove to the edge of a cliff above the ocean, and then we drove over the cliff. And as we dove through the air and into the water, we just kept driving. We drove to a famous underwater city, whose name I forget, where octopi entwined our old green Buick. Elegant mermaids taunted us with cryptic innuendo, where gigantic swimming eyeballs paralyzed us with their uncanny insight. We just kept driving. We drove past nomadic tribes in excellent embroidered clothes who stood by the side of the road waving. Bye-bye. We drove from downtown Poughkeepsie to Quintana Roo, from Tucson to Tucumcari, on to Kathmandu, and when neighborhood punks stole the alternator, put Kool-Aid in the gas tank and swiped our CDs, we just kept driving. We drove to the farthest edge of the farthest desert, where restless stars whirled dangerously in the sky, and we drove. We drove as a row of oil wells rose before us and burst into flames. We drove deep into the night, deep into the wind. We could have been anybody going anywhere. We could have been anywhere. And we were anywhere. And we drove to get there. And we drove to leave. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Robert and Jan. And thank you all for being here, and thanks to Robert for inviting me. Thanks to Steve and Kathy for hosting.
So welcome to be here at the kitchen table, and thanks to everybody who's tuning in from their kitchen table all over the place. We have people in Canada for whom it's just another Sunday. We can't assume from our USA perspective that everybody is celebrating the 4th of July. For some people, the 4th of July is just right there in between the 3rd and the 5th. And we're thankful that people are tuning in from Canada and from other places around the country and around the world. And here we are at the segment called Stump the Band, and I hope people have prepared their requests, where we will do the best to not be stumped, and you're going to do the best to request something that is nurturing. And when we have hands in the air, which is not, as an English teacher, I'm going to ask Philip, should I call on the people with hands in the air? Never call on the people with hands in the air. Never. So I, and I'm young and must make mistakes. So I'm going to call on the first hand that I saw in the air, and that's the man in the shirt that says, "I'm ready to have a good time." That's a shirt that says, "I've been to 17 Jimmy Buffett concerts." I think we know which man of the audience I'm calling upon here to stump the band.
John Barnard.
Whiskey Nancy. We'll send the research librarians in our brains back to the dusty files to see if we know Whiskey Nancy. And we take all requests at once, and that lets the research librarians take this in, and then they come back out. Hand way out in the back, we have yes. When I was a cowboy out on the western plain. Why yippee-yi-yi, yippee-ki-yay. I think that's the one she's requesting, and I think Kevin or I may or may not know it. And then we have other people with hands in the air, and oh man, look at all these hands. We have so many. Wow, what a crowd. It's the 4th of July. They've been smashed on mint juleps since about 2 p.m., and the hands are. Let's go with Heather, though. Heather always has a request. And Heather's first comment is, "No, I don't always have a request." Keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes upon the road. We're going to the roadhouse. Oh, are we talking that one? Willie Nelson, hands on the wheel. Okay, those are the 3 requests. We have Whiskey Nancy. We have When I Was a Cowboy. And I'm assuming out on the Western Plain, but I'm getting confirmation on that. And we have number 3, hands on the wheel, specifically the Willie Nelson hands on the wheel, not the Doors. Right. But she might take the Doors, I'm not sure. And well, just for fun, we had so many hands in there. We're gonna go to our friend here, who when he was 3 or 4 years old was on the jungle gym behind us, and Steve and Kathy. Well, they didn't tell him what to do because you don't do that at Montessori, and they let him figure out how to do it. And he, as of yet, when people tell him what to do, he doesn't get angry. It just seems weird. I'm going to call on my friend Forrest to tell us what we should play. Racing in the Streets. Okay, we have 4 requests there. You got A-OK? They're all A-OK with you?
I'm 0 for 4.
0 for 4. I'm going to... Well, we did. I think I have already given you as much as I know of. When I was a cowboy out on the western plain. Yeah, yippee. Oh, I ran into Jesse James. Why, yippee. I gave you all I know on that one. So not much to do with there. And I already gave you keep your hands on the wheel, keep your eyes upon the road, which is not the song requested. However, when you said Whiskey Nancy, I think you were actually requesting Nancy Whiskey. Which, as the good son of my father, Peter Blake, I happen to know that one. I am a weaver, a Carlton weaver. I am a brash and roving lad. I will wander where it takes me. I will follow the roving trade. And it's whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, a whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. And it's whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, a whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. As I went up to Glasgow City, Nancy Whiskey I chanced to find. I forgot about my weaving. Nancy had me beguiled, and it's whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh, whiskey. Sing it. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. And it's whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh, whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. So I'll go home to weaving. No more whiskey I shall find. Whiskey drove me straight to weeping. I'm home to weave, and that's where you find whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, a whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. And it's whiskey, whiskey, Nancy. Ah, it's come back to me now. He was remembering the verse that I'd forgotten, and he sent it to me psychically. The more I kissed her, the more I loved her. The more I kissed her, the more I fell. I soon forgot about my weaving. Whiskey soon had me beguiled. Everybody's going to sing it. Whether you're in Guelph or St. Louis or Buffalo or other places far away and in between. Whether you're looking forward to the Subdued String Band Jamboree. No, everyone's looking forward to the String Band Jamboree. There's no other category. Well, it's a whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, a whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. And it's a whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, a whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy. Kevin, can you give us one more blast before you take off?
Sure.
All right. Very good. Let's see. Yeah, it's so close for us. It's so close for us that I'm not going to do it. I met her on the strip 3 years ago with this dude in a Camaro from L.A. I blew that Camaro off the strip and I took that little girl away. Racing in the Streets from Bruce Springsteen, who was picketed in the mid-'80s for having, by now, National Organization of Women, for having too many songs in which he referred to women as little girls. Fair enough. I mean, it's not just once, Bruce. It happened pretty consistently, Bruce, that a certain world vision was projected. And now let him have it. And I like to think we all grew up a little bit through their hard work. And I'll pass that back over to Kevin.
In the old days, before everything became so complicated, we didn't need a different kind of shoe for every occasion. In the old days, we were just one-celled creatures, didn't wear shoes at all. If we had a nucleus, a cell membrane, a few mitochondria, we were set. And in the United States of America back then, why, there were only 2 states, Alabama and Nebraska. And nobody lived in either of them. Nobody was going on and on about how there's not enough hours in the day. There was only 1 hour in the day, and that was enough. And everyone's memory was perfect because nothing had happened. And it didn't matter that there were no stars yet and no moon or sun. There was a street light, and you could look up at it and howl all you wanted.
Woo! Thank you, everybody, for being with us here. Robert Sarazin Blake from the kitchen table with Jan Peters on harmonica, David Pender-Lofgren on the bowron, and also on the ones and the zeros, the cables and the screens that bring this kitchen table around the world. And our special guest over here, Kevin Murphy, thank you for being with us. What a joy this 4th of July. Let's have hopes and prayers and dreams of a 4th of July a year from now in which 600,000 people have not died in this country. We'd like to close the show with this song every week from our friend Hank Waddell, who lives in Cork City. And I always like to say, if you're ever in Cork City, go down to Charlie's Bar on the Quay. Hank and Ray play there every Monday night. And I was there one Monday night a few years ago. My buddy Ronan Leonard said, we're going down here, got to see Hank and Ray. I said, I'm more of a Thursday happy hour guy, really, but I'll go check out a Monday. I get it. And happy hour is back on at Boundary Bay. We'll be doing happy hour every Thursday here through September. This week is these fellows on my left with their group Gallo Glass, and I'll be back the Thursday after that. Thanks, everybody, for making a contribution in the hat over there, and a digital hat is out there in the world at the PayPal and at the Venmo. And we're going to take those contributions and take them straight to the Bellingham Community Food Co-op, unless we fill up so much on this potluck I hear talk about happening after here that we're good for the week. But I think we might take it tomorrow Monday morning. All to say thank you very much, everybody, for being with us here. Well, it's great to see you, because we thought you were dead. Did you come back to life? Did you get out of your bed? It's great to see you. Was that your ghost? We thought you were gone. Burnt toast, it's great to see you. Whisper nothing, sing softly on your ear. Try not to cut short the moment that's here. Shadow it might be, feeling's clear. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's all about the times we shared. It's all about the times we shared. gonna stay? Are you here for the long night? Are you leaving at the break of day? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's true. It's great to see you. It's great to be near you. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. Everybody can sing that here at this isolated, crawling out of isolated times, acknowledging the interdependence on Independence Day. It's all about the times we share. From Guelph to St. Louis to Buffalo, New York. It's all about the times. Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine.
We share.
It's all about the times we share.